try drilling one?
Yeah, let me drill one. You can hold this and, all right, so show me the spot here. You're in and out? How far down the bit do you go?
Like on a tree this size,
okay,
you're only going to run that bit in there about an inch, inch and a half.
Okay.
And you want to hold it as steady and just pull the trigger and come right back out again.
Process, and then whereabouts would I?
Anywhere right in here is fine.
Let me know when you got me in the frame.
Yep.
Good. And we're not going to apply pressure or apply pressure?
Just a little bit. That bit is sharp. It'll suck it right in there.
Holy crap. Is that enough? That's not enough, is it?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yep. You got to hang on to that bit because she is sharp.
Yeah, it took off on me.
Yep.
Yeah. So now you take this, pop it in.
Just pull it out from behind the tube in there.
Gotcha. Oh, it's already pulling. And then tap it in with, you got a tube. Give it a little tap.
You're going to tap it in there.
Until you hit solid.
Yep, you'll hear the sound difference. Hear it?
There, right?
Yep.
That's it. That's awesome. And we got our first flow. But that was quick, actually. Thanks, man.
So you got to tap your first tree?
Thank you. That was nice. But that thing pulls.
Oh, yeah.
You know, here you go.
These are specialized bits that are super sharp.
Yeah, it was quick. And it pulled it right in. But I mean, the sap, because I probably went a little too far. Right?
Nope, you're all right.
Awesome. Thank you.
So what that is every 1,000 holes we throw these bits out.
You do.
We drill 1,000 holes and.
But I mean, it's got to be that because the way they cut will.
Yep.
Right. You don't want to.
We don't want a bad tap hole. The tap hole is the most important part to the whole operation.
Clean cut.
You want a nice clean hole that's not oblonged. A lot of guys will get doing this, and you'll oblong the hole, so now it's a vacuum leak. And now if you find that, no, it's all right.
It's okay.
I let you drill that one because that one's going to come out. Oh. Any two trunk trees like this, typically, or unless they get real big, we try to take them out.
Well, because your sap production is going to be.
It'll be less than a tree like that.
All right. And now at the top of there, so I mean, you're tapping pretty much. I see it looks like. Is it about 25% of the trees are getting tapped? I mean, just with the size?
This woods in western New York, where we are, a real good woods will average anywhere from 100 to 125 taps per acre.
Okay.
You can get them as low as 40 to 50 taps per acre. This woods here is running right around 110 taps per acre.
So that's good.
And this is a good woods. But we've been working in it for about 15 years.
And well, that's a process, right? That's
it doesn't happen overnight. 15 years ago, this stuff right here was that big.
Tiny. You couldn't use it.
It was worthless.
Right.
So we came in, thinned it once, and let them grow, and then I thinned it again, and that's when we put the tubing in it.
Gotcha.
You would be surprised. You take a tree this size, if you thin it correctly, in 5 years' time, this tree will be tappable.
It will be.
Yep.
So that's what it is.
Because you're cutting out the competition.
Right. Because you're culling the woods.
Yep.
You're making this more efficient, right? Higher production level.
Higher production. So, the big thing you don't want to do is you don't want to go in and you don't want to strip of woods and have strictly maple in it. You're more prone to disease.
Sure, the purity of the...
And that becomes a real problem, like with the longhorn Asian beetle and, some of these invasive species that have come over here. They will come in and decimate a woods overnight.
That quick?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like locusts.
They will come in and they'll strip it, and you'll come in here and you'll look at it, and then they'll defoliate an entire woods.
Oh, I would never think it was that fast.
We haven't had that problem around here in quite a few years, but it has happened. Woods that we used to tap, we actually had a helicopter coming in and spray it because they were defoliating it. And
wow. So they they literally moved through and then there's nothing left. I mean, the trees are they shot for a season or shot?
It depends on the year. If that tree is under too much stress that year, it will kill them in 1 year. So,
and that's a typical farmer's dilemma.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're at the mercy of Mother Nature constantly, whether it's through...
And we're even worse than dairy farmers and crop farmers because them guys all get crop insurance.
I was just going to ask.
We don't.
You don't have. Why wouldn't they give you crop insurance?
We are one of the only ones. They're pushing to get it. But
I think that it's almost a necessity. You can't control that stuff at all.
You know, if we have to make 5,000 gallons of syrup a year to be on top and make money, and we only make 3,000, well, where's that other 2,000 coming from?
Right.
Go find another job to do.
God.
That's just the way it is. It's farming.
Man's all your time, but you got a good support system. You got a great family.
Yeah, without them, you'd have nothing.
Totally true.
I'm running on about 12 hours of sleep in the last 5 days.
I can't even imagine. Everything's surreal at this point, right?
It's time to hammer down and make money.
Yeah. It's your season, right? I mean, the fact that you're so good at this and keep it so small, you have so much to deal with. Most people would be completely like, it's a testament to what you're able to do as a person.
Right. Oh, then that's why I said a lot of people don't realize and they don't appreciate that we're getting $56 for a gallon of syrup or $32 a half gallon. So come out here and do this. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yep. And this is not the world that we live in now, in the sense that everybody wants things quick, easy, as efficient as possible. And this process will not change now or ever. This is just the way it has to be.
Yeah, we can modernize our sugar houses and cut down on labor in the sugar houses and modernize our tubing systems with vacuum sensors and stuff like that, but it all comes at a cost. If I was to put a full-blown monitoring system in this woods, it would cost me probably $25,000, $30,000. I can do a lot of walking for $25,000.
Yeah.
But it's time. It's time. It's efficiency. Now with a monitoring system, it's going to tell you what line is leaking instead of walking a whole woods.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a year's salary for a lot of people.
Right.
So, and if you're good at what you do, which you are, why spend it, right?
Right. And we've done a lot of work in this woods here, so once it's up on vacuum, or unless something happens, this woods usually stays pretty good. I might only be in this woods once a week.
Right.
But we've spent a lot of time in here maintaining it, getting rid of the dead trees, the big old trees that the squirrels love to live in.
Right. Oh, so that's the other thing too. Right. Now, but the size of a tree, if you have a large tree, don't you want that or no?
No, not really. We'll look at a couple right here.
Sure.
So like these big old trees in here, this section was done 7 years ago. Like this tree right here in front of us. I'm only tapping it right now because there's nothing else there.
Right.
Once they get that big, they start to get hollow.
Okay.
So when we're drawing vacuum on them, you will actually draw air from the inside out.
It's just pull, right? It's still porous.
Yep.
I mean, there's still, right? It's not a complete solid.
It's not a solid wood anymore. Your sap wood is in the first 1.5 to 2 inches of the tree. So that's when you drill, you're staying in that sap wood.
Right.
So that you're constantly pulling sap and not air through the tree.
Wow.
Like the other day in the windstorm. This tree right down here came down, landed on that main line. It actually broke this wire. So I had to redo this little piece of wire. And
God, dude. I mean, that windstorm was bad. I mean, that was like howling all
We had
day.
65-mile-an-hour winds here.
So were you out in it?
No. If it gets up above much more than about 35, 40, I stay right out of the woods.
Right.
My life is worth more than this business.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, but that's the maintenance that you were talking about. I mean, this line came down, or the tree came down on the line busts. Now, how many repairs did you have to make? Hundreds? Or
This woods we actually fared quite well. That was the only main line that had come down. We had a bunch of 5/16ths down.
Right.
But it's a constant maintenance.
Right.
At least once a week we were walking the woods. If the vacuum is up, just to make sure there's not limbs on lines. And just looking at everything.
Sure.
Keeping track of what's going on. Because this is where it starts. The sugar house is not what makes you money. It's this.
This is your crop.
This is your crop. This is where it begins.
And but don't you think too that this is the crop? What you do, the years that you have to spend learning how to do this is.
And it's ever changing.
Yeah.
It is.
Value.
I mean, tubing systems today from where they were 20 years ago are nowhere near what they are.
Totally different.
It's completely different.
And you're seeing that technology probably change yearly, right? And as far as efficiency.
Efficiency. Tubing really hasn't changed other than low density, high density, which is just two different plastics. 5/16ths is virtually all the same. They've changed spouts, but the big changes are in the sugar houses and the pump houses.
I mean, this looks really cool, though. So you got your main line, and this is a really great example to show us because you've got that primary middle line. Everything's feeding into that, right?
Yep.
And then we're taking that. Then you've got another line here that's equal diameter, correct?
Yep.
And that's running all the way down to that pump house?
Yep, and that runs down the valley and comes into the back of the pump house. This woods here actually has three main feeders in it because there's basically two valleys in it, and then we actually tap a part of the neighbor's property that butts up to us here.
But for me, as a layman, this is overwhelming to see, like the amount of work that you and your wife have put into this.
So basically, the driveway that we're sitting on is how we classify this woods.
You do.
So this is the main driveway in the whole woods.
Okay.
So it's either north of the driveway or south of the driveway. It's one or the other. So south of the driveway is the oldest tubing. This tubing here is the oldest stuff in here.
Right.
This will probably come out in the next 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
It's been in here for.
Color differential.
Yep.
On them, and then the taps are, like what they look like new. They just get worn over time, right? And it's like anything else.
Sunlight really pays.
Bakes them.
Yeah.
Right. But they don't leak per se. Like
No,
they
just start losing their color from the UV.
Cool. This is a great shoot, actually. This is good to see. So it's on the tap. You see the lines. Draining your tank. Now, did you take your boy out at all?
Oh yeah.
So he comes out with you too?
He's getting pretty good at checking tubing for me, checking vacuum leaks.
And that's what I was saying about your skill set. In order to train this, you've got to be an apprentice, right?
He thinks he's going to start out in the sugar house. He got a rude awakening. The only place you start is in the woods.
Well, it's like anything else, right? I mean, like you said, this is your business right here. These trees.
This is where it starts, and this is where you need to learn to appreciate what happens on the other end in the sugar house.
Right.
This is where all the time is spent. It's not spent in the sugar house boiling.
Sure. So now the main line here, what's the diameter of that as opposed to?
Most of my feeder lines are 1 inch. The ones that are actually right in front of us right now are 1.5 inches.
Okay.
Main line is number specific to the number of taps. 1 inch will handle 500 taps, 1.25 inches will handle 1,000. You can put up to 1,500 on 1.5 inches. So what we're doing here is we're running a wet-dry system.
Okay.
The bottom line has got all the sap in it. The top one is transferring the vacuum up through the woods.
I see. So that's pumping it. Basically, it's the catalyst of.
That's what's moving all the vacuum.
Did you put this dip here?
Yeah, so I could get under them main lines. I got sick of going all the way up and around.
Oh, yeah, sure. Smart.
And my machines were getting too big that I couldn't get underneath them anymore.
That's great. Off-road.
Oh yeah, I gotta love playing in the mud this time of the year. So then everything comes in and goes right into the back of the pump house. Right there.
Gotcha.
That's where everything comes in at and
That goes into that.
It goes into that extractor.
And then from the extractor, it goes through the tubing into the tank, and now we're gonna haul it back.
And now we're gonna haul it back to the sugar house. I forget, there's something like 30,000 feet of main line in this woods.
Wow. Yeah, the most impressive thing with you guys is the fact that this is a family business, and that there is really no crew. This is just you, your wife, your kids, your parents.
I will definitely thank my brother
Yeah.
and my sisters. My sisters put up with me.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, dude.
That was awesome. You have a great future here. Have a great job. So cool.
All loaded.
Awesome. That was really cool to see that.
The truck is loaded. There, we got about 3/4 of a load on.
Go back.
Back to the sugar house.
So now do you have to check each pump house, like, or does it automatically tell you when it's ready to get pulled?
I've got cameras.
Oh, you do?
Each pump house has got 3 cameras in it. One on the vacuum pump, one on the releaser, and one on the tank.
It's really beautiful out here. And you're getting all seasons, you know? You're always out here.
Yep.
So summertime, I mean, you're basically prepping, what, 11 months of the year for 1 month, right?
We're usually tapped January, February, March.
Oh.
Once in a while, we'll go into April. January's pretty hit or miss. Just depends on the weather. This year we got lucky. We've caught a week of really nice weather, so we decided to tap and catch the early run. This was my grandfather's original home farm. It's about 110, 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
This house right here next to it is where my dad grew up.
Huh. Where do you guys live in proximity to this?
We live down towards town.
Okay. How cool that all that's still there, though.
Yep.
You know the people pretty well?
Yeah, we actually rent the barn.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Is that for storage?
That's where we store a lot of stuff in there. That used to be our sugar house until I built a new one.
And the new one, you said I think in the interview was only a couple years old, right?
2 years ago, November, we moved in it.
And it's just a better location, more storage, you got everything in there.
Basically a bigger building because we were running out of room.
Right.
With a bigger evaporator. We were just cramped on space. It was time to do something, so.
Now, will this pull out as quickly as it went in the tank?
Oh yeah, I'll build.
It'll empty as quick, or?
I'll stick this in the unload tank that we have at home, back at the sugar house,
Okay.
and it'll take me about 10 minutes to unload it.
Wow.
And
And then it goes, so do you try to boil it like right away?
yeah, what sap runs today, we boil it today. The only time we save it is if we don't have enough to boil, then we'll save it till the following day.
And that's an issue basically on the physical property of syrup, right? The sap.
Well,
You want to capture.
we can't, with the new evaporator that we got, I gotta have a minimum of 800 gallons of concentrate to even fire up, because you have to get it hot enough to sterilize the entire evaporator. Otherwise, that sap that you just put in there will spoil. Sap is just like milk. You leave it out, it'll spoil, just like milk does.
I didn't realize it was spoiled,
Oh yeah.
actually.
24 hours. You can lose a truckload of sap in 24 hours.
So you don't have really much time at all.
It runs today, we process it today. And that's why we have a lot of late nights.
Right. You can't wait.
Because we can't afford to let it sit around.
The new sign looks great.
Thank you. Cleaning ladies, cleaning the windows.
That's a mom, right? Like windows look dirty.
Mom brings us dinner at the sugar house every night. Dad calls her the chuck wagon.
She says, you know, a good mom, that's what they do, right?
Hey, yo.
Take care of you.
Without Mom, we'd go hungry.
Yeah. Forget to eat, right?
Especially me, because there's days I don't go home for days at a time.
Yeah, you got your loft up there.
Hey, yo, I go up in my old office and take a nap.
I mean, it's like anything else. It's just a flow you have to get used to. Right? You've been doing this forever since you were a kid, so.
I grew up farming, so the long hours do not bother me. The older I get, it's starting to catch up with me.
That's normal.
About a week and I gotta just sit down and take a nap.
We're getting through the whistles.
Now we're gonna hook up and unload.
Is one in, one's out? Top's in, bottom's out? Or no?
Nope.
What's the top?
Bottom's actually in, top is out.
Oh.
But being that I'm not gonna, typically when I pull in here
Right.
and the sap's really running, I run it off into that holding tank. And then once it leaves that, it goes into the filters. Being that we don't have a ton today, I'm just gonna run this right off the truck, right in through the filters. This tank here is our permeate tank, full of water, 6,000 gallons of water. And we use that every day for wash down. We'll burn about 4,000 gallons a day in wash water.
You have no choice. Right?
Got no choice. That's the way it is.
Kind of on your volume, right?
That tank right there is actually down to about a quarter of a tank of sap in it right now. Bubba,
Oh, it does.
we're down. That's a 6,000 gallon tank, and that's the sap tank. That's where we're unloading into.
Oh, okay, so that's what's going.
Yep.
Now, was that new too?
Might get a little loud in here. So once we hook up our hoses,